holistic manner. But first of all, quick introduction to myself. I'm Andy Carvell. I actually started out as a developer. Like my background is computer science and game development. Actually, I was taught to program computers at a very early age by my father, who was like one of the first generation of computer programmers. And he was sort of taught me a home computer and taught me the basics of how to program at the age of 5. So I actually wrote my first video game at the age of 5. It wasn't very good. But the reason I'm telling you this is that I'm actually very excited to be working in mobile. As I sort of progressed through my education and then left university, my first job was at a company called Nokia, who used to make a lot of mobile phones. And I was making games for them. I made a game called Space Impact, which a lot of people played. It's like a horizontally scrolling shoot 'em up. And I stayed in the mobile game space for a long time, before eventually going to business school, doing an MBA, and getting more into the marketing side, which is what brought me to Berlin, which is where Soundcloud is located, and then working with Soundcloud on their mobile marketing and growth challenges there. But the reason that I kind of digress into my childhood is that if I could go back and tell the 5-year-old Andy who was like writing his first video game, that in the future everyone would be carrying incredibly powerful computers that would be able to message all of their friends wherever they were in the world, like instantaneously. Not just message them, but send them an image or even a video that they could capture right there with the same computer that they're holding. That they could navigate from A to B anywhere in the world without a map. And if they take a wrong turn, they can still get there because the computer will tell them where to go. If you'd have told me that as a 5-year-old, I would have been so excited for the future. It's science fiction. And we're living in that science fiction universe today, and it's a really exciting place to be. And yeah, that brings me to Soundcloud, because we're trying to make that science fiction universe even more exciting by basically making the whole world's worth of music and audio available to everyone all of the time in their pocket. So, quick show of hands, like who knows about SoundCloud, who's used it before? Okay, that's a fair few of you. So, for those of you who haven't heard of SoundCloud, we're a platform for creators of music and audio of all types. So that's singers, songwriters, musicians, podcasters, comedians, political speakers, anybody that wants to record some audio and share it with the world and build an audience. We give them the tools and the platform to do that. So it's really, we started out, we're headquartered in Berlin. We have still our headquarters there, about 200 employees in Berlin, with offices in New York, London, and San Francisco now. So specifically on mobile, we have mobile apps for Android and iOS. There are native apps. We're not supporting Windows Phone right now, but we do support it via our HTML responsive mobile website, which is also a fully functional version of the site. But we see that the highest engagement and activity is on our native mobile apps. So we see that as the ultimate destination that we want to drive users to. And a lot of what I'll talk about subsequently is really about how we approach that kind of funnel of getting users from when they first encounter SoundCloud to getting them onto the native mobile apps. We also have a desktop website, which gets a lot of traffic, and widgets, which are embedded in a lot of news feeds in social media. So we work quite hard on these integrations with Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, etc. Really to allow creators of music and audio to share their creations across wherever their audience is. So you don't have to come to SoundCloud to listen. We're also on Apple Watch now. This is our first foray into wearables. Okay, so this is the mobile growth stack, which I'm going to take you through in this session. This is a framework that I put together. It's a kind of a way of holistically approaching growth and kind of framing some of your strategic decisions and working out what are the competencies and technologies that you might want to acquire or develop if you want to grow your mobile business. So it's quite a complex diagram, so I'll kind of walk you through it, and then we'll break it down by stages. But it's basically underpinned by a layer of analytics. So these bottom two rows of boxes. This is really about measurement and insight. So the way that we approach growth at SoundCloud is really that we shouldn't be changing anything unless we can measure it very specifically and be able to prove with data that we're driving the product in the right direction. Similarly, we should be trying to base those hypotheses based on insight that we've gained about our users. So we feel like tracking is super important. And I'll run through these boxes separately in the next slide. Up at the top, we have 3 rows for acquisition, engagement and retention, and monetization. I think it's really important to consider all of these holistically when you're sort of planning your growth activities and trying to grow your mobile app or mobile business. You might think that monetization is something that is sort of a later stage idea for a lot of companies, but I think it's really useful to consider your monetization strategy right from day one, even if you're not necessarily monetizing from day one. It's good to kind of know where you're going, and we'll talk a bit more about that too. You could argue that there could be other stages in this stack. Just the way that I've broken it out, but there's definitely other ways you could look at it. On the right-hand side, we have retargeting and international as vertical boxes that cut right through the stack. This is because I think they can be applied and they can catalyze all 3 layers. So you can use retargeting, which is finding users on other places, other networks outside of your app, and going in and hitting them up with a targeted message to try and bring them back to drive them further through your conversion funnel. And I think you can do that either to drive more acquisition, more engagement, or indeed monetization. And I've got some examples from SoundCloud as how we've done that later in the presentation. Same with international. I think approaching internationalization correctly is much more than just translating your products, but that's definitely a good place to start. But really, if it's done right and you're doing the right international partnerships, that you're translating all of your user communications and your onboarding flow, and you're supporting relevant payment methods in a particular country, for example, if you're targeting, all of those things can accelerate your growth in those markets. So that's why I kind of put it as a box which transcends the 3 layers of the stack. So if we look at analytics, for example, I'm just going to basically run through these boxes super quick, and then give you a quick example of some of the technology that we use in SoundCloud to track this stuff. I think the important thing to note is that it's not about necessarily bringing in lots of tools and technology to do everything. Definitely there are tools and technology which can help you with some of this stuff, some third-party products, some things you might want to build yourself. But more importantly, it's really about the process, about being data-driven and being committed to kind of making your changes based on hypotheses and running experiments. And be prepared for some of those experiments to fail, but to have the right instrumentation around what you're doing to see if you're moving your metrics in the right direction. So a real dedication to being metrics-driven. So I'll just run quickly through these boxes. Install attribution on mobile is really about understanding where your users are coming from, whether they've installed as a result of an advertising campaign that you've run, whether they're coming from a Facebook link, from a cross-sell link that you've included on your website. Being able to track that stuff and understand what are your most valuable referral sources is super valuable. We use it just for install attribution tracking, but some companies completely create a custom solution themselves, and there are other commercial solutions on the market. I think Tune, for example. In-app event tracking, really crucial if you want to understand how your users are behaving within your app. Just a quick show of hands, how many of you are you have a mobile app that you're currently developing, or you're in a business that has mobile apps? Okay, it's good. Quite a few. So event tracking really is about understanding, what your users are doing, what features are they using, and you might find some surprises there. Quite often I speak to developers who they think that feature X is their most important feature, but actually it turns out that users are spending most of their time in feature Y. And screen flows is another great example of how you can understand that better by seeing how users are navigating through your product. Campaign measurements, really about if you're spending money on advertising and paid marketing, then it's really crucial to understand which channels are performing best, what are you paying per user on those channels, what are the best performing creatives, all of that stuff. You want a dashboard that can help you with all of that. Conversion funnels to understand what are the steps through your through your kind of conversion flow, whether or not you're selling something. Conversion funnel could also be just driving a user from like install through to completing some key activity which you consider important in that user journey. So being able to measure those funnels and see like where the drop-offs are, and then working on fixing those drop-offs, it's like really important for growth. User testing is something that often gets overlooked because it's not so quantitative. But like at Soundcloud, we have a user testing lab. We bring in users, bring in volunteers off the street approximately every 2 weeks. And we put prototypes in front of them, and we get them to use like various parts of our product. Really to understand like how they're interacting with it. We have designers and developers in that session as well, like watching, reviewing the video afterwards, and learning like what are the. You can gain an awful lot by seeing how a real user is interacting with your product. Like a lot more sometimes than you can just by looking at like quantitative data. User device demographics, relatively self-explanatory, saying like where are your users coming from, what are their characteristics, what devices are they using. Cohort analysis for basically tracking how your users are developing over time, like looking at cohorts that joined in January, for example, and seeing how their behavior differs from users who joined in February, and if their retention is higher in January than it is in February, then what did you change between January and February that's making those users less sticky with the product? So cohort analysis, for example, is something that I spend a lot of time doing at SoundCloud, heading up a retention team there. So we spend a lot of time deep in cohort tables. Bug tracking, being able to find out like when your app is going wrong, to get reports from that like directly from the app, rather than waiting for users to write into support. Super helpful. A/B testing. We're currently not doing a lot of A/B testing in native mobile right now at SoundCloud, but it's definitely where we want to get to. I actually haven't met a lot of companies yet that have really got a good handle on native mobile A/B testing. I would love to speak to anybody in the audience afterwards if they're doing A/B testing like consistently and seeing good results on mobile. Definitely has some challenges. We do a lot of A/B testing on web, and we've built an A/B testing framework which helps us to which we hope to bring to mobile, but it's not there yet. Heat maps and eye tracking and other kinds of kind of fancy tech to understand like where users' focus is on a screen is also super valuable in really understanding if your design is well laid out. App Store analytics, huge topic. Trying to understand what's going on in terms of the App Store ecosystem. Really valuable, like the ranking algorithms change from time to time on Apple and Google Play. Apple and Google are both opening up the app stores a little bit in terms of the insight that they provide you, but there's a lot of other tools out there which help you get a bit more understanding of what's going on. Sentiment tracking, super important for understanding whether your users are actually enjoying your app, whether they would recommend it, for example. We use an NPS campaign in our app, so we ask every new user after 3 sessions, I think, whether they would recommend the app to a friend or colleague, which not only gives us like a really useful like constant stream of data on user sentiment, but we actually then segment those users. Users who said that they would be in the like 8, 9, or 10 likelihood to be recommending us to a friend or colleague, we actually ask them to go and rate us in the App Store, which generates a lot of 5-star reviews for us in the App Store, increases our App Store volume, review volume, and increases conversion on the store to a measurable effect. And users who give us a lower score, we don't ask those people to rate us in the App Store, but we give them a feedback form and we ask them what could we improve. So again, we're getting really valuable data from them and reducing the number of negative reviews in the store. CPU, battery, network and performance analysis, really just these things can, they sound kind of like low level and maybe something that's a bit too technical for like a marketer or a product person to really be worried about, but these can have a real measurable effect on the growth of your app. If it's draining battery all the time, users can see that. They have these apps now that can monitor their system usage and will tell them like, what are the apps that are like draining their battery or like, using the most data. And if your app's one of them, it's likely to get deinstalled. So it's something to bear in mind. And finally, LTV modeling, customer lifetime value modeling, to understand what your customers are worth to you. And in some cases that's relatively straightforward. If it's a paid app, then and you don't have any in-app purchases, then your LTV is really simple to calculate. If it's advertising funded, or you have some kind of hybrid model, then that modeling exercise gets a bit more complicated. So here's some of the technology that we use in our stack to help us with analytics. It's not everything we use, but yeah, we use Parsalytics for bug tracking, Localytics for in-app event tracking, Redshift and Tableau. We have our own data warehouse at Soundcloud. We're tracking a lot of data, as you can imagine. We use Adjust for attribution tracking and also tracking our deep links. On the right-hand side, in the bottom right corner, you see a lot of these are all mobile app store intelligence technologies. We find that all of those products pretty useful and quite complementary, actually, for doing keyword analysis, competitor analysis, looking at where we're featured in the various stores. And we use usertesting.com for user testing as well as the usability labs, which I mentioned. So as well as bringing users off the street, we use usertesting.com to get a quick snapshot of like how users are interacting with a particular feature or how they're viewing our app store, for example. Like we even use usertesting.com to have people like just go to the app store, have a look at our listing, and then tell us what they think the app is about, and really to get an idea of whether we've got our proposition nailed. So any of you who haven't used usertesting.com, it's super simple. You can basically set up a quick test, ask your test group to do a certain bunch of actions. Typically we say like go to the store, download the SoundCloud app and have a play with it for 15 minutes and tell us what you just have a play around with it and talk us through what you're doing. And then we really see like super quickly like where users are getting stuck, where users are kind of understanding the app, and you basically get a video through from these users within about an hour of putting it up on the site. So it's like really fast feedback. So I'll dive into acquisition now and how we approach that at SoundCloud. I've got a couple of specific examples of things we've done at SoundCloud on the acquisition side. So just a quick note, on this framework, there's a lot of stuff in here, right? There's a lot of boxes, a lot of different things that you could work on, and the idea of this kind of cheat sheet, if you like, or this framework is not to suggest that you need to be doing everything in order to succeed at growth on mobile. Some of these things won't be so relevant for your business as they will be for us, it's really the suggestion is that you should consider all of these things and make a strategic decision about whether they work for your business and whether it's worth trying at least, rather than that you need to give equal weight to all of these activities. For example, paid channels. We're not doing a lot of performance marketing at SoundCloud. We're in a quite fortunate position. We get a lot of organic growth. We're in the top 50 in the Google Play and the iOS stores overall, organically in most countries. When I say organically, we've done a lot of work to build those growth channels, but what we're not doing is buying users at scale. Good reason for that is that we're not monetizing our mobile users yet, so it's really hard to justify the ROI on spending millions of dollars on acquiring users. But as we start to monetize our mobile users more, likely this paid channel box will become much more important. So yeah, I'll just quickly run through these. Cross-sell, we do a lot of cross-sell in SoundCloud, cross-selling from our website, from our mobile website, and from the widgets that appear in various social feeds. We're like cross-selling our mobile apps in all of those channels, and we get a lot of traffic to a lot of these like other channels. A lot of that traffic is very transient. It's maybe users who clicked on a referral link of a song that their friend shared in Facebook. So we really have like one chance to grab them and get them to install the app, which is where we really want them to be. So cross-sell is a really important channel for us. PR and social channels also pretty big for us. Like I say, we're not doing much in the way of paid acquisition yet, but there are some notable exceptions to that. Partnerships, I'll touch on in a minute. Same with viral. Some slides for those. And app store optimization, I think, is really key, and I guess this is the one that I would encourage anybody with an app, anyone who wants to drive more acquisition of their mobile app, should always think about app store optimization, no matter what size you are, because your app store listing is really your one chance to sell the user on what your app is about and get them to download it. It's a landing page for your app. And if you think about it, the App Store it's like having one shop in the entire country where every single product is on sale, and it's like, you know, 1 million products. Everyone who wants anything goes to that shop. So your product has to stand out in that store amongst 1 million other products. So it's really worth like putting some effort into optimizing your presence there. So speaking of which, one of the things that we did to help us with App Store optimization and help us to make our product packaging as exciting as it could be, is we built an App Store testing tool. So what you see here on the left is it's like a mock version of the App Store. It looks very similar to an App Store listing, but it's actually an HTML5 mobile site that we hosted, that we direct traffic to, and it's hooked up to Optimizely, which you see an Optimizely like report track on the right. So Optimizely is like an off-the-shelf A/B testing tool, and what it allowed us to do was very quickly A/B test different components of our App Store listing. So our screenshots, our call to action, our descriptions, our icon, and our app title. And we could A/B test that in a sandbox environment and throw like real traffic at it. Like we use traffic that we diverted from our mobile website. We dropped some traffic here and just see what the click rates were on various variants of our App Store listing, our fake App Store listing, to see which components perform best. If you don't have a free traffic source, like a lot of traffic coming from a mobile website, you can pay to send traffic here. You know, you can drop like $500 on a performance campaign, and just run some Facebook ads and bring some traffic there. And then when users click the install button, it takes them to the real App Store listing. So you're going to get a bit of a drop off there. Not too many people are going to necessarily click install twice. So it's not really, this is not really about user acquisition. It's about getting valuable data, which you can then use to optimize your real store listing. And on that note, Google just launched this the other day. So this is a screenshot from the Google Play developer website. It's now possible on Google Play to run A/B tests directly through the Google Play Store. So you don't need to build a whole fake app store. I really hope that Apple will do the same at some point in the future. This is really helpful for really ensuring that your App Store listing is up to date and is as impactful as it can be. So I mentioned cross-promotion before. This is really big for us at SoundCloud. As I mentioned, we get a lot of referral traffic which ends up on our mobile website, for example on the left there, or our main desktop website, and we aggressively upsell people to the native mobile apps because we see that we get a lot more engagement on the mobile apps, and it makes a lot of sense. People can walk around with their mobile phone on them all day long. They put their headphones. They can listen for much longer listening sessions. They never need to sort of disconnect from SoundCloud. So that's really where we want users to be, and they're our most valuable users. So all the other channels are basically leading to native mobile. And in order to increase our reach, we currently reach something like 250 million unique listeners per month. And part of the reason we can reach so many listeners throughout the world is through these integrations with social networks. So you see there Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and Pinterest. Some of the bigger networks that we're integrated with. We have some other integrations as well. And we spend a lot of time working on these integrations to ensure that they're optimally displayed and performing in the newsfeed, that they're not giving people a bad experience, and hopefully that they're not going to get pulled on the wrong side of an algorithm change by Facebook, whatever, that they're not too spammy, whatever. Because these are really important for us for increasing our reach. Not going to be applicable to everyone. I think it's very much it's great for a content platform like us because we have a lot of individual pieces of content which are quite shareable. I think depending on your business and your app, this might not be such a valuable growth channel for you. And partnerships. I'm listing here some partnerships that I see elsewhere in the music space. Because we're currently at SoundCloud, we're not doing so much of this, but this I think is a great growth opportunity for SoundCloud and for a lot of other businesses. If you have something which you can get in front of a large subscriber base, for example, a mobile carrier who's looking to bring some content and some added value to their customer base, then it's a win-win. So for example, Deezer funds a lot of their international expansion. They achieve a lot of that through doing partnerships with carriers. Spotify do a lot of them too these days. So, like what's in it for the mobile subscriber is typically they get reduced price subscription to a music streaming service, or they get free data streaming to that music service that doesn't come out of their data plan. They basically can stream unlimited music. And what's in it for the mobile carrier is that they get to align with a cool brand and bring additional content, additional value to their subscription plan. So it's kind of a win-win. Often there's also a rev share component involved as well. I'll move on to engagement and retention. Now, we focus a lot on the onboarding flow because what we see from our insight, but I'd say it's pretty common across the board really for pretty much any mobile app, is that you really have a fairly short period of time to get the user's attention before they're likely to deinstall the app. So we focus a lot on the first few sessions in the app, trying to ensure that the user has a valuable and delightful experience, that they come back and keep using the app. And this is a big focus for my new team, working specifically on retention topics. Mobile CRM, this idea of kind of managing the customer relationship and the customer journey right the way through the customer lifecycle, super important. It's about reaching the user with a relevant and timely message that's personalized to them, and it's something that is likely to help them push them through the engagement funnel to a high level of engagement. It's about identifying those users who are maybe at risk of churn, or who haven't engaged with the app for a certain number of days, and giving them a reason to come back and use it again. Deep linking is quite kind of a trendy topic in mobile at the moment, but it's definitely, I'd say, not something which is applicable to every app or every scenario. It works very well if you're if you're like a content platform like we are. We have a lot of atomic pieces of content. I think there's over 100 million tracks on Soundcloud. Being able to deep link a user from, for example, mobile web directly into our app and directly into a specific piece of content is really helpful in sort of making a smoother user experience. But I think for some apps, it's more like a lot of people think that they have to have deep linking and they have to support it because it's the new crazy buzzword in mobile. But I'm not sure that's the case. I'm not sure it's a one-size-fits-all thing.
We're running out of time, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay, sorry, we're running out of time. I thought I had 45 minutes, but...
afraid not, no, you less than 25.
Okay, right, then I'm going to run through the rest. Okay, so, yeah, we ran some onboarding campaigns on local links, which allows us to reach users at a sort of specific point in their onboarding to drive liking behavior. And we drove a lot of liking behavior with this campaign. I'm going to skip through transactional push.
I think we might actually have to leave it there, because we've got the other two speakers to set up and everything.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
We made the whole presentation available.